Okay, beautiful scenes here right in the centre of the MCG. St Kilda with 5 Indigenous players. They've actually got the second most in the league when you take the women's competition into account. And 3 Indigenous players playing for Melbourne this afternoon in May Pickett and McAdam. They're exchanging their gifts as well. So Narrm's gift is a ceremonial red gum parry shield.
Thank you.
And Euro-Yroke is handing over artwork of Bunjil, painted by Nathan Patterson, who also created their Guernseys. Final tips, predictions?
Well, I know why Stephen May pointed the other way. He doesn't run too far at the moment when he goes to goes to position. Don't worry, that's a tactic that's thought about as you go to toss the coin, Cal. But look, no, I think Melbourne. I think Melbourne will respond. I think St Kilda will be ultra competitive. Hopefully they get their ball movement well, but I've liked Melbourne from the outset this year. Yeah, they've had a couple of down weeks, and last week in particular, but I think they'll respond today.
So the subs, as you can see, Tajwai Woden for the D's and Cooper Sharman for the Saints.
I think it'll be a fierce response from the D's. They were bitterly disappointed with their performance, let alone the result last week against the West Coast Eagles. I expect them to come out firing. I want to see the good ball movement, but also want to see the Saints respond. It's been a flat couple of weeks. They get a good opportunity on a nice afternoon at the MCG.
They last played round 17 last year. That's when Petrarca booted 4, and it was Melbourne by 21 points. It's Narrm and Euro-Yroke. The D's trying to jump straight back into the 8.
Nichols round. Narrm versus Euro-Yroke. Umpire lays it down for Gawn, who wins the first tap against Marshall, and Pickett gets the first clearance up towards half forward. Webster. Battle. Gives to Stocker. Stocker clears. Pickett back with the flight here. Knocked down. Bowie. Hunter in for his first game of the season. Up towards Viney at half forward. He can't take it. Fritsch taps it to the side over the head of Sparrow. And it will be a boundary throw-in.
Game couldn't have started any better through a Melbourne supporter. Cozzy Pickett with his hands in the footy early is going to be important for them.
Love the fact that Cozzy starts in the centre bounce as well, Danger, and just gets him involved early, an early touch. Max Gawn, the first hit-out win. They're going to call Marshall and Gawn hundreds of times potentially today, as Oliver, 20 contested possessions in their loss last week. Clayton Oliver.
Max, hold the meter.
It's Cozzy Pickett just floating forward of centre now, having taken that first centre bounce. He's got Jack Sinclair alongside of him, who through the legs of Hunter. Bowie wrapped up by a couple of Saints.
Liam Henry's one of those, and he started half forward, so he's pushing right up the ground. They'll be trying to get the ball to him in the back half. He's got great wheels, great ability to hit targets too.
Steele around the body. King tries to flick it on. Caminiti first onto it. A hand pass to Wilson. Wilson to the 50. Tries to screw it back towards goal. Owens to King. King lost control of it. Rivers sees it over the boundary.
That was great play then by Windsor, because they were going to handball the ball into the top of the square to Brad Hill, and he was covered. Good ball movement, though, from the Saints from one end of the ground to the other.
That dirty ball, Tim.
It was very dirty.
Dirty ball.
There was some speed attached to it, though, and it had some promise about it. Caminiti might have had a tug of the jumper at Max Gawn, but it's going to be thrown in. Again, Shane Warne stand side of the MCG.
Max, Anthony. Thank you. Let's get the meter, Anthony.
So St Kilda just opening up the front of the stoppage here. So boundary side, there's a lot of room.
And the teams love to really apply pressure and get some repeat entries. Tomlinson, though, drives it out of there. Van Rooyen, one of 4 inclusions for the D's this week. Marshall winning a lot of the footy in recent times. Webster, and that is a nice ball to Battle. They're going to try and come through the corridor. Awkward one for Steele, and you know this spells trouble on the turnover. This is what Simon Goodwin wants to sweat on, to score from turnover. Petty, he's got Bailey Fritsch for the one-on-one. He's going to go in that direction. Not a great kick. In fact, he couldn't have kicked it any better to Dougal Howard.
He played that well, Dougal Howard, where he took up position, but that's the right play by Battle, but just poor execution.
Excellent mark by Sinclair. He knew Salem was closing. Short to Wilkie. Wilkie around the wing. Caminiti and Tomlinson. Ball gets to the back. King has Hill for support. Give it to the speed machine. Hill gives it back to King, who sizes them up and chips it expertly to the pocket, and Owens can line them up.
We're going to put that one down as another dirty ball, Paddy, because it actually was a tumbler. It went over the back, that King was the opportunist.
It was, and Tomlinson's good in the air, but the ground ball get is not his go-to. That's the same for Stephen May, and that ball ends up in a St Kilda goal here.
Owens with the first for the Saints on a Sunday afternoon. So Mitch Owens with his 13th goal of the season. St Kilda landing the first blow. They have struggled to score against Melbourne in recent times. It's their last 4 games to the D's.
Well, King was involved in this passage of play. You see there, Stephen May just got caught halfway between being able to kill the ball and where his direct opponent was. King, he stayed out the back, and that's really smart ball usage there too. Good start here by the Saints.
3 of the last 5 games, Mitch Owens have kicked the first goal of the match. Still again here this afternoon. Viney stepped through heavy traffic. Van Rooyen got off his marker, and that was beautifully weighted, the kick to Jacob Van Rooyen.
We spoke about the matchup of Gawn and Marshall at the start of the game. It's been one-sided so far. Gawn has been spectacular with his tap work. 2 out of the CBs, and that was as good as you get if you're a midfielder.
28 goals, 9 in his debut season last year. 10-4 so far in season 2024. Directly in front. No problems at all. Van Rooyen kicks Melbourne's first. Straight off the ground for Jacob Van Rooyen. Missed round 10 with the concussion protocols, and they welcome him back. Nice start for young key forward.
I know we talk about this often, but what are we, 3.5 minutes into the game? He's just kicked a goal. He'd be feeling great about himself. I know the players have to come off, and that's the best opportunity for him, but really.
See this cavity of space, they leave inside the forward 50, and Viney just drops it in the middle. A lot of teams line out through the middle of the 50, so they literally go straight down the spine of the ground. Melbourne, because they know they get dominance out of the centre bounce, they open up that cavity of space.
Bounce favours Marshall, and umpire recalls it. Another win for Gawn. Wilson. Still me. Dow there, Sinclair. Steele out wide.
So that's another skill error. That's a couple of skill errors already that have brought Melbourne back into the passage of play, and they're the things that are causing Ross Lyon at the moment to pull his hair out. I mean, that's a fairly easy kick then from Steele breaking from the centre that he just misses, and they miss the opportunity to retain possession.
Gawn takes possession. A high kick around the wing. Petty there with Howard. Good hands by Petty.
There's a serious contested mark from Harry Petty to McAdam. There's runners charging forward. Langdon was the first one. Now an opportunity for Caleb Windsor, and honours the lead of Langdon, who is as hard running a wingman as we've got in the game, and he's got an opportunity from a difficult part of the ground.
I think back to your point, Tim, Melbourne get their breath back. They don't have to defend because you turn the ball over if you're St Kilda. You've got to spend your tickets in attack, and they're giving the ball back far too often, far too quickly, and all of a sudden Melbourne can generate their energy from a stock play, from a stoppage, which we know they're very, very good at.
Saw Jake Stringer kick one from almost the identical blade of grass last night in the Dreamtime match. Not a bad effort from Langdon, but wasn't able to kick a major. Let's get down to Campbell Brown.
Christian Petrarca, we've spoken about how dominant he's been against the Saints in his last 4 matches. When he starts in the middle of the ground, the skipper, Jack Steele, takes responsibility for him. And when he goes forward, Liam Stocker's the guy. So Ross Lyon with the plan around Christian Petrarca.
Dangerous kick in from Bonner. McAdam is able to see it out of play.
And the stoppage work has been so dominated by Max Gawn in the early part of this game. That's a real advantage for them now to go to any stoppage. He's directed the ball 4 times to the ground level players.
He's Ruckcraft Something else deftly down towards Oliver. He's latched onto by Dow and Hill. Ball came loose. Ross puts Bonner in a bit of a bind, but he negotiates it well. Higgins on return.
Covers a lot of ground, Jack Higgins, and the kick almost got to Caminiti. Tomlinson, John McVie back to the safe hands of Stephen May, and they are camped up on the outer side here under the Shane Warne stand, and they're going to go out in that direction. Rivers to Lockie Hunter. He transferred it to directly opposite wing. The hands of Bailey Fritsch. Marshall got back, gave a good contest. Bonner immediately tackled by Cozzy Pickett. Umpire has adjudicated no prior opportunity.
Melbourne rough.
So it's Petty opposed to Marshall. Dow got it out the back. Woods kick touched. Bowie didn't hear. He's tackled. Just got a little kick into the arms of McVie right in front. Gawn's gone forward. Spoil made by Howard. Bonner surrounded.
Looks like he might have got a knee in the back of the head then too, Howard. He's okay. He's up and about, just giving it a bit of a scratch.
Max Gawn and Marshall. Jack Sinclair trying to pick up an awkward ball at his feet. Touched off the boot of Mason Wood. Rivers was awake to it. Squeezes a handball forward to Chandler. Now Clayton Oliver. Not 15's the call from the Rivers kick, so Tomlinson drives at the top of the square. McAdam had a look that he was going to launch. Langdon picks it up, hands it off to Hunter. He slides in the second goal of the afternoon for the D's. Rocky Hunter's first game back for 2024 in his first goal. Has been well received. Back-to-back goals for the D's.
This is the knee in the head here to, well, it's actually probably the hip of McAdam that gets Marshall in the head there. And then this is the goal. You don't often see this. There's two wingers on either side of the ground. So you've got Langdon working down deep into the forward line across to Hunter, who's occupying the other wing. Winger to winger goal for the Demons.
Van Rooyen's having a go in ruck. Caminiti for the Saints. Caminiti taps it down. Neil Bullen there first. Dow right there with him. Holds him up. Neil Bullen had it a long time. Kicked it into Windhager. Hill flipped that out, threw it out. That'll have to come back. Salem's free kick for the D's. Bowie. Hunter screaming for it on the wing. Bowie will go back towards centre half back, and Tomlinson played the first game of the year against the Swans, but not sided at AFL level since. Averaged 28 disposals in his past 3 in the VFL. Collard, Henry, looking to the corridor, uses Dow. Dow kicks in the King direction. May's there with him. Out they come. Owens flew. At ground level, he's good too. Knocked away by McVie. And Chandler's off.
Norman on the rebound. Fritsch was pushing up high to get involved. Back to Chandler. Spearing kick into the path of McAdam. And Brownie, did I catch a glimpse of Max Gawn getting a little bit of attention down there? We know he had the fitness test with the calf. All okay?
Yeah, he started this game beautifully. Went forward for a little bit. He's just come off for a bit of a rest, and they're just monitoring that calf of his.
It's a good mental battle, that, when you wake up with a little bit of tightness and you're just wanting to make sure everything's okay. So we'll keep an eye on Max Gawn. Beautiful centering kick. Melbourne's ball use so far has been outstanding. Look at that kick to Fritsch. Impossible to defend a kick like that.
Back 2 minutes, come.
Even if you're an All-Australian like Wilkie.
You mentioned it perfectly, Das. Melbourne's ball use has been excellent. To turn inside, it opens up the full face of goal. So if you're a St Kilda defender, you have to now defend the entire 50.
Stand there, up and down, please.
Kicked 199 goals since 2020. It's the 5th most of anyone in the game in that time. Bailey Fritsch has had an incredible record, 25-10 so far this year. Natural, relaxed set shot kick. That one struck it pretty well, but missed.
They're going out foot by around 73%, the Demons, in the early stages of the game, and the Saints at 56%. But you saw just a moment ago how important Liam Henry is to this team too. His ability to just cut back inside, make the right decision.
Aggressive kick down the middle. Wanganeen-Milera, but Melbourne turns it over. And Viney will line them up. Langdon inside 50, and Viney taking the mark. Battle, was there some front-on contact, maybe a hint? That's what the Saints fans think.
Or maybe a throw there from Christian Salem, which was a rugby league handoff.
The presence of mind for Langdon, though, under pressure, not to just blaze away, to keep it short. Really good composure.
For 3 in a row for the D's, after the Saints kicked the first. Viney's kick's a good one. So the Wanganeen-Milera kick into the corridor. Battle had a couple around him. Couldn't take the mark. D's get a hold of it. Viney finishes off. Scored 14 points only from turnover last week.
You see how proactive Melbourne have been with their positioning at the moment. You can get that when you are on top. You start to take a little bit more from your opponent. Creates the Melbourne scoring opportunity for Viney.
Melbourne last week only had 36 inside 50s for the game. They've already had 10. And we're not even halfway through the first term. Henry taking the full 360, letting it go. Neil Bullen popped up with the Sherrin for a moment. Petrarca gets it to Cozzy, who shovels it back to Max Gawn, and they're going to win another one out of the centre here, the D's. Through the avenue of Windsor to Jack Viney. He's controlling possession at the moment, Melbourne. Mason Wood got back, took a good mark defensively for the Saints.
Goes towards Marshall. Doesn't carry to him. Back to Wood under pressure from Windsor. Collard against McDonald, and McDonald uses his body and outpoints the young West Australian.
Play on. Yours.
Marshall in front. Fritsch spoils over the back. Crashing through goes Sinclair. Gave to Battle off a step. A high left foot floater. McDonald in front. Couldn't take it. Windhager spins away. Off to Dow.
Had a handball on offer to Sinclair. Paddy Dow decides to go on his own. Stephen May getting back with his name all over it. Well done, Owens. Got a little hand in. Collard's quick. He was tackled. And holding the ball. Tomlinson executed that one perfectly.
I'd love to see that handball used through the middle of the ground, because you're able to get a deeper inside 50. May's able to read that really early.
Nice battle. Well on Van Ryan.
High tackle, St.Kilda. Stand.
Made sure it was a contest, but Stocker has come up. You can see the Saints in the middle of the ground wanting to get that kick that Paddy's talking about, the change of direction. Instead, it's a big bomb. Owens is going to launch at it. Front and centre opportunity all around. Owens again looking dangerous. McVie is dragged it under potentially. And no free kick doing.
He's interesting play, Owens, isn't it? Like, he's still one of the best second effort ground level players in the competition in the forward line in the front half.
Here he is giving away a free kick outsized against Gawn in ruck.
Hasn't he been dominant in the early part of this quarter?
Weren't with us earlier, needed a fitness test on the calf to be cleared to play. McVie released through the middle to Langdon, back to McVie, now to Petrarca. Great work by Stocker to disrupt things, but only momentarily. Rivers hits up Pickett.
Paddy made the point earlier, and it's a great point too. They've been able to keep that corridor in their front half open, and they've been able to use that effectively as a great attacking space. Time and time again, they've gone into that part of the ground, and it's been left open.
Well, St Kilda are just defending so wide. They're opening up the ground by how wide they're defending. What you need to do is stay corridor and tease the wide kick. If Melbourne are going to beat us, let's let them beat us wide, not through the middle of the ground.
Play on.
Pickett
End zone.
goes as hard and long as he can, going for distance. Just hooked the kick a touch. Another behind to Melbourne.
And they've used the ball well too. They've taken 5 marks inside their attacking 50 already. They only averaged 10 over the course of the season, so they're well on pace to be able to beat their average.
And every inside 50, Tim, looks dangerous. It's not like it's just being blazed away. It looks like they're going to score.
Scoreboard hasn't got out of hand at all, but the game feels so one-sided at the moment. The way of Narrm, and some real problems. The Saints. Dow got collected by Petrarca.
Dow, stand there, please.
Free kick
Play
going
on.
the way of the Saints, and they're going to try and launch an attack. They've got some options here. Windhager.
Play on.
Thought about Darcy Wilson with the released handball. Now Collard and Owens. Hill overran it. Collard toe poked it into the corridor, but so well set up behind the ball. Henry's tackle was pretty effective. He's won it back here for the Saints, although Salem put his head down and just got it back again Melbourne's way as Chandler to Petrarca, who charged forward.
Stand.
Probably within range, the track.
Play on. End zone.
Decides the one-step bomb was the option. Pickett, brilliant contest, brought it to ground. Now Langton's got a chance. Messiah Wanganeen-Milera held him up.
He's so smart, Petrarca. As soon as he saw that, here's the hit from Petrarca, head high, no doubt, free kick. But as soon as he saw the ball had broken to Melbourne's side, he just ran as quickly as he could to the space out the back.
Gone to the side underneath McAdam. Ball came out. Windhager. Ross. Taken out as he got his kick away. Viney, top of the 50. Shoots it back. Tomlinson, a sidestep. Kicks to the pockets. Out to spoil is Howard. Knocked it away from Chandler.
It's a stark difference, isn't it, the way that Melbourne have been able to rebound off half-back and how easy they've been able to possess the ball as opposed to St Kilda. Well, that is head high. I don't think there's anything more than a free kick for that, though, is there?
It's a
Good
bit
acting
of
as well, isn't there?
a bit of poor technique as well from Paddy Dow, isn't it? Where you launch with your head first, and I think that was Petrarca's claim, is that someone charges at me head down. Is there a whole heap I can do? But I think Paddy Dow probably earned the free kick in the end as Windhager applies some pressure. Melbourne again just able to control the footy even under this pressure to Gawn.
That's the play, Das. The ability to come off a congested possession and then take a relieving mark. Like, it just disarms the opposition defence so quickly.
Drives it in the Van Rooyen direction. Juggled attempt at mark. And another opportunity, though, deep inside attack for the D's.
This would feel energy sapping for St Kilda at the moment. The defence is under immense pressure. There's multiple inside 50s. They've got to find a way to get yardage from stoppage.
Wrestle between the rucks. Ross to try and clear for the Saints. Into the middle of the ground. May well placed. Good spoil by King. May there, though, to combine with McDonald, who got away from Hill very effectively to Rivers. Rivers deep towards McAdam. Couldn't mark. Wilkie's hand pass hits the deck. Howard needs to be calm and deliberately fumbles it over in a disguised enough manner.
Jacob, move out.
Can't have a player with inside 10 metres. Otherwise, then it is a free kick. But
Good play on here from the Saints. Wilson lost his footing. And you don't want to end up in the hands of Cozzy Pickett. That's a nightmare. And he's tracking the boundary line. Cozzy! So Doug Nichols round! It had something about it that you thought was going to be there, and it wasn't far away.
he looks good today, Cozzy. He looks dangerous.
He does.
Bonner. Wanganeen-Milera.
You can see the inside 50s there. 7 of the last 10 inside 50s have been Melbourne's.
Sweeping hand pass out wide for Wilson. Short to Henry.
Stand.
They've just got to get the ball in the hands of the best ball controllers off half-back and get some carry and some overlap. St Kilda try and get the ball to about halfway before they just dump it off.
Do this, yeah.
Owens. McDonald over the top. Tried to kill it towards the boundary. Wilson there with Gawn. Wilson goes to ground. Did well to flip it infield to Windhager. His hand pass stolen. May. Neat kick to Salem.
Stand.
Christian Salem.
Right out.
on the outer wing
50
is
metres.
50
Up
metre.
to the next umpire.
And that's going to really hurt.
It will be, yeah, just inside the 50.
So the
47.
inside 50 count will go to 16-6. That's an avalanche one way.
The problem is when St Kilda do win the ball, they've got no energy to attack because they've spent all their money in defence.
Marcus, no, don't go to him. Get out. Stay out.
25 disposals last week, his first week back from injury. Sailing is a beautiful ball user and been able to pick his way through that to Langdon.
You wonder how that can happen, though. They've had a lot of time to set up their defence then, and all the players bar one were in the defensive part, were pretty much almost in the defensive 50 then.
You took the words out of my mouth, Tim. Like, it's just not good enough, to be honest. They get too far defensively and they leave the most obvious space.
What a great selection he was. Traded by the Fremantle Dockers for some late picks, and he's given the D so much value. Ed Langdon, that one won't be online, so perhaps the inaccuracy, the saviour in the first quarter here. It's 3-6-24 to 1 straight 6-9 scoring shots to 1.
And the disposals in the front half, the Saints are around 12 and they're over 40 already for Melbourne, so they just can't get anything generated in their front half, the Saints, because the ball is just not getting there the way that they need to be able to get it.
Outside 5.
Nice mark taken by Mason Wood, who goes to the corridor. Danger time. Steele is up to the task. Van Rooyen almost got in the road. Back to Bonner. Bonner wants to go down the middle. He's completely kicked that off the wrong part of his foot. Chandler's hand pass knocked down by Viney. Slaps it forward. Ricocheted off Bonner. Rivers tidies up off to Oliver. Bashed forward by Chandler. Van Rooyen slick hands to Rivers. Off to Chandler again, feeds it forward to Fritsch in space. Fritsch in space means right through the middle. Cannot afford that. Demon dominance here after St Kilda kicked the opening goal, the opening score of the game. 4-6 unanswered from Melbourne.
So there's a lot of hand-wringing and conversation taking place out there between the St Kilda players at the moment too.
This is just impossible to defend, turning the ball over in that part of the ground. And Melbourne nearly coughed it up because they came back into traffic, but their ball use, their hands around the contest has been exceptional so far this game. And he's one of the best finishers in the competition, Bailey Fritsch.
24-point lead to the D's. Feels like it could be worse. Look at that from Max Gawn. You can't get it placed any better for you if you're Jack Viney. Saints defence have done a mountain of work. It's trying to hang on. Wanganeen-Milera clearing kick. One-on-one. Higgins pushed out of it by Rivers. Mark's been paid. And still 2 minutes of time left for the D's to add some more pain in this first quarter. Cross line, desperate to get the quarter time break and see if he can settle his side down. Inside 50 again. Fritsch, ground level, picked up by Petrarca. Look at the strength in the contest. Mason Wood to Webster, but Bowie going back with a fly to the footy. Opens a pathway for May. He's got a leading target in Petrarca. Defended well, Stocker. Just seem to win the next footy every single time, though, the D's. Fritsch again to Salem. Higgins provided some pressure, and it was enough to affect the kick. 7th behind. It is a domination the way of the D's.
Just have a look at this tap hit from Max Gawn. He's just having his way against Marshall, who's a highly credentialed ruckman in the competition. It just looks like a professional going up against an amateur at the moment.
And that Viney left foot out, like, you can't give that away as an opposition midfield. You have to know what foot he is. He's going to exit on his left side more often than not.
The exit for St Kilda on that occasion, not eventuating.
As good as it's been for Melbourne, Simon Goodwin would be frustrated in a sense. They've had so much of the play, but they've also missed a lot of opportunities.
Wanganeen-Milera off the outside of the boots. Viney clings on.
Stand.
it's just been played in Melbourne's heart. Like, they just can't get field position either, the Saints, can they?
Get on. Play on.
Van Rooyen leads to the pocket, but the kick goes in the Gawn direction. He's done just about everything so far. A row for Petty, stripped of it by Wilkie. Wilkie's clearing kick, socket forward by May.
Play on.
Tackled off it was Sparrow. Cleared away by Ross. Free kick against McDonald.
Behind your mark, 5 metres back. Mitch, 5 metres
Owens
back.
will have it in the centre.
Play on.
They are crying out for a goal, the Saints. Wanganeen-Milera. Dink kick to Ross. Ross out wide to Henry. Henry kicks towards Higgins in the pockets. He can't take it as Hunter gets back to impede.
Rux.
Just hung a little long in the air then.
Anthony.
He's worked super hard, Jack Higgins, to get into that space.
Yeah. That's what you want to see your winger do, though, from the other side of the ground, isn't it? Come across and assist the back six.
So well organised, the D's. Everything going their way. Oliver is beaten for on that occasion by Paddy Dow. Can still manufacture something. It's still time for another opportunity.
They want to play dirty ball. I think they might have dirty coach at quarter time. Hasn't been a particularly startling first quarter of football from the Saints, has it?
Got to generate some movement in this stoppage now. Get Hill running through the front of it.
Caminiti and Gawn. Gawn towards the boundary line. Viney pushes out Steele, runs onto it. Hand pass out towards Hunter. Hill. Wanganeen-Milera onto the left boot, squaring kick. Henry camps himself in front. Caminiti couldn't take it. Tomlinson dealt with in the contest. Will take the free kick and get the D's to quarter time. Not full value taken, but still a thoroughly dominant term from Narrm. 4-7-31, 11 consecutive scores after St Kilda kicked the opening goal of the game. A 25-point lead to the Demons at quarter time.
Time for one of the most prestigious events in all of sport. The Grand Prix has come alive.
Well, it's been a first quarter masterclass by the Melbourne Football Club against St Kilda. Nick Dal Santo, the margin is 25 points, 4-7-31 to 1 straight 6 for the Saints. The ball movement by Melbourne has been super impressive. They've really stretched St Kilda's defence.
They have. They've challenged them and they've controlled all 3 phases of the game. And what I've loved is when you stretch the ground, it creates space. And when you get space through the middle of the ground, good luck defending behind the football. That's a superb kick by Neil Bull, and that opens up the game. And then it's just an option of which one do you want to do going forward. They've used the ball really well. Saints have struggled for weeks in regards to stopping the ball movement. That's what it looks like. It's a real challenge.
What about what this looks like? The inside 50 count, 22-8. Now, what is the AFL average for inside 50s?
About 52 per game.
And so Melbourne's on track for
88. That's world record pace. But of those 22 inside 50s, they've taken 8 marks. So it's not dump kicks. It's not the opportunity to rebound. They've controlled the game through marks as well, Cal.
So it's a complete demolition job right at the moment. It was the Saints with the first goal, and then they've peeled off the next 4 goals. If you're Ross Lyon, he pulled him in tight into that huddle. What's he saying to them?
Well, you'd like to think that it's resolution-based. There's no point yelling at them. Things aren't in a good space right now, but it's about what can you change? What can you control right now to be able to change ultimately in the next couple of minutes as they walk out and get ready for the next quarter. Now, you look at Ross right here. As loud as that looks, he's raising his voice, it would be instructional. Things need to change. You can worry about the anger and all that. Let's do that post-game. But right now, that needs to change. It needs to start in the midfield.
OK, first quarter much better for Narrm compared to last week. They just kicked the 2 against the West Coast Eagles. So Simon Goodwin's had some words to Max Gawn and his team. Gawn came in under a little bit of an injury cloud with a tight calf, went to the bench at some stage in that first quarter, but he's all good to go, and we're all good to go into the second term.
Mountain to climb already, it feels, for St Kilda. About to get the second term underway. Really impressive. D's dominated the first term, and Gawn again. He almost had Viney on the fly. Saints have been able to win it back by their captain, Jack Steele. Higgins.
Holding, Melbourne.
Just a little overzealous. They're going to pay the advantage, and that kick, there's some risk attached to it. Neil Bullen, brilliant. But then well tackled. Riley Bonner managed to get it out. They just seem to be able to link up, even under the pressure St Kilda are applying. Petty from behind, good courage, Stocker. They're back. Took a nice mark at half-back.
Stocker. King up in that pack. Knocked down by Maygrove, by Viney. Good tackle, Sinclair.
Even that first kick out of the centre by Jack Steele, you would have liked to have seen him just handball that to another player that was free of pressure and could see what was ahead of them. It was just a dump kick out of the centre. That's better.
She takes it out of the ruck, but kicked it into Paddy Dow. Fell for Sinclair. He's dumped as he gets his kick to half forward. Higgins trying to get dangerous. Kicks it towards the teeth of goal. Wilson couldn't take the mark. Bowie's hand pass got past Neil Bullen. Oliver, though, farms it up to him. A sweeper. Out to Hunter. Tomlinson had plenty of it. Gawn, Hunter, Bowie under pressure. Back to Tomlinson. A tumbler around the wing. Petty in battle. Now the boundary umpire.
Let's just talk about Melbourne's handball then. Like their work in congestion is elite. Like that is brilliant handball. They're so clean with it. They're putting it to their teammates' advantage. Conversely, St Kilda are just dumping it. As soon as they get pressure on ball, they're kicking it, and it's once again you're turning the ball over. They need to get more of Melbourne in their game.
There's some better hands from Steele to Seb Ross. Beautifully smothered by Neil Bullen. He's back to Lockie Hunter. He was aiming for Gawn, but we're going to have it thrown in the identical spot right in front of the interchange race.
Thanks, Max. Roland, hold the meter.
Some talent sitting there for Melbourne. Christian Petrarca waiting to come back on. It's going to land perfectly for Neil Bullen. Prepared to take that kick. It was through the hands, and now a chance opening up. Mason Wood flicked over to Higgins, to Hill. Wanganeen-Milera, smart decision maker normally. Chance for Max King. It was just a bit too far out in front. Stephen May's kept it alive. Now maybe Owens got it back to King. Through the hands of Wilson. Wood under real pressure, and the D's have been able to fight hard and come up with a saver, you suspect, but Wilson keeps it alive. Centering kick is good to Paddy Dow, and they fought hard there, St Kilda. An opportunity for the former Blue here, Paddy Dow, to kick his second goal ever for the Saints.
And that was one of the few times this game where the Melbourne defence had to work overtime, and in the end they were overcome by the pressure of St Kilda, so that's a much brighter start.
I think he's going to be a very good player, Darcy Wilson, for a very long time for St Kilda.
Paddy Dow made his debut for the Saints last week, kicked a goal. Again, that one hasn't made the distance. Max Gawn always in the right spot, the big captain of the D's.
So Stephen May.
Good look for the little wins though for St Kilda. All right, we've had a shot on goal. Let's look for another opportunity to build another, and then another.
Outside 5.
Salem. Neil Bullen.
Stand. Play on.
He wants to go. Kicks towards Gawn and Marshall on the wing. Howard gets involved.
He's strong, Max, isn't he? The way that he held off Marshall. I mean, Marshall wins a lot of those one-on-one marking type duels and out-positions the opposition ruckman, but such a difficult assignment, Max Gawn. And this is where he's been really powerful.
Sleight of hand from Gawn. Deft touches. So creative, constructive. Oliver, Neil Bullen comes out of the traffic to Salem. Salem chips towards half forward, back with a flight. Langdon couldn't take it. Then he runs into Bonner. Slapped out. Battle needs to clean this up. Hand pass to Wood, out wide towards Steele. Viney right there with him, and Steele's friend is the boundary.
I've liked how Melbourne have exited stoppage through the corridor. They've turned inboard. So once they've found that first one, it opens up the full face of goal. So the St Kilda defence, they've got to defend the entire 50. They're not just keeping Melbourne skinny. That's why they're getting good looks forward to centre.
A little patch of sunshine there over the Shane Warne stand side on a cool afternoon at the MCG. Salem Clever little handball. McVie happy to go back to May, who's in the quarterback role there for the D's. To Hunter. Had a lead from McAdam, and now Lachie Hunter runs his full measure. And for Petty, sliding in is Jimmy Webster. Now to Riley Bonner.
To full-back Wilkie.
They've set the ground up really well defensively here, Melbourne.
So Wilkie goes to the contest on the back flank. Marshall couldn't quite hang on.
Pushing the back, advantage.
Free kick, Viney. D's play onto advantage. Gawn into the pocket, finds McAdam.
And that's the payoff. You set up the ground so well defensively, you force the opposition to kick to a pack, and then you win the ball from there and set up another forward opportunity here. There's in the back free kick against Marshall. Big Max just getting forward after that stoppage. And this bloke is capable of kicking miraculous goals from all parts of the forward line.
The first goal of the second quarter to give the Demons a 5-goal lead. McAdam's kick just misses on the narrow side. 4-8, 12 scoring shots to 2.
Riley Bonner, fullback kicking. Judy's had a couple of little nervous ones. That was beautiful 50-metre bullet to Wilkie. Trying to get some speed on the ball here, St Kilda. Tomlinson and Owens in an arm wrestle. It's a good contest. There is Wilson, who's an elite runner. Tomlinson started well. Rare fumble from Oliver, but he fought back. Owens scrambling it forward in the way, though, is Sparrow, and he sends it to another one-on-one. Van Rooyen spin rolls there for a moment was Riley Bonner, and Crafts a kick to Jack Steele. So the Saints are going to go forward, the edge of 50. Oh, Tomlinson.
Once again, though, it's just not the deep entries that St Kilda are looking for. Steele's kicking that ball before even the halfway mark, and Melbourne are too well set defensively. Leaves their forwards very little room to create space.
Had a lot of the ball too, Tomlinson, up to 13.
It's all comers on the ground, and another 50-metre penalty. So
just short of the 50.
The umpire deemed that Mitch Owens was in the protected area. Windsor.
Okay, stand now, please, Brad.
To just shy of the 50. Sends a low kick in the McAdam direction. Howard spoils. Hand pass from Steele to a running Dow. He sends it back towards the wing. Bowie's there first for Melbourne. His hand pass didn't make it to Tomlinson, who had to put the head down, try and get it out. Picked up by Hill. Owens defensively by hand, and Wood kicks towards King, who should mark.
Got a rare bit of space, Max King on his own. He's a long way from home. Next target is Caminiti, but you see Max King hesitating because the D's again are just so organised. Max Gawn got back, and very hard to mark in that situation. Paddy Dow picks it up to Owens, having to go back to try and go forward, and it's getting messy out there for the Saints. Tomlinson's been brilliant. Webster, though, came in, smothered the handball, got it back. Jimmy Webster to Mason Wood.
Downfield free kick, Higgins.
So that will make life easier for Jack Higgins. A downfield free kick.
Time back on.
Just didn't need to do that there, Clayton.
And if King takes the ball up towards the wing like he did, he's drawing Stephen May with him. That's when you should be turning and going really quickly, Paddy, because now their defence is a little bit scrambled.
Their leading goal kicker this year, 13-8, Jack Higgins, having just spent 3 weeks out with suspension. He's pulled that one to the near side, but as you said, Danger, at least there's some shots on goal, some time in the forward half for the Saints.
Yeah, I agree with you, Tim, around bringing May up, especially with Lever out of the team. Probably what St Kilda didn't bank for was just how well Adam Tomlinson is playing.
Couple of bounces out of defence for McVie, and then kicks to Rivers in the corridor. The contrast in ball movement. Neil Bullen stood his ground. He knew Marshall was coming. Webster goes back. Sinclair involved Marshall. Windhager to Collard.
Stand. Play on. Kick yours.
Higgins. He got felled by May in a very vigorous manner.
Play the mark.
Mark will stand. Neil Bullen's hobbling.
Stand.
Higgins hit a target inside 50.
Play on.
King leads. Kick goes in his direction. King pulled it in.
That was a great kick by Higgins in the end. He just pulled that kick at the last second and just plopped it into that space. Here's the knock on. Neil, looks like it might have been his ankle, might have been the way he landed. That was right on the edge of being downfield too, that one.
Ear massage, as Spud Foley would call it, does. Just that real massage across the side of the head.
King with 9 goals, 9 for the season. St Kilda need a shot in the arm. He delivers it. First goal of the second quarter goes to the Saints. So Euro-Yroke bring that margin back to 18 points. And they have just started to have a few moments in this second quarter. A few moments to encourage their fans.
That was some of their best ball movement forward too, like being able to sort of kick the ball into their forward line to get to Higgins, and it actually drew Stephen May up the ground, so it gave King a little bit of space.
See, just vacating that space. Melbourne set defensively behind it. Wasn't a huge amount of work to room to work with, but
Max King's 150th goal of his short career, just his 79th game today for the key forward for the Saints. So still lost his footing. Did well to get the handball back to Sinclair. Can they get another contested mark? Caminiti at least got it to ground level. Picked up though by Rivers. Wood read it better than anyone else and got some space cleared for him. Oh, smother from Sparrow. Ricocheted back to Mason Wood. Spearing kick looking for him. Finding Caminiti. Good patch here for St Kilda.
the thing that they'll be talking about, certainly the coaches internally, Melbourne aren't a high-scoring team. In fact, of the top 8, they're the least high-scoring, 11.5 per game. So if they can start to get a few goals back here, generate some of the play on their terms, the game can change very quickly for St Kilda.
Move it in now.
Anthony Caminiti, still 20 years of age.
He's in.
Feel like they're going to have to take their chances this afternoon. Yeah. The Saints starts that at the right post. And again, easily defended by Gawn.
Neil Bullen staying out there despite that discomfort.
Bring it in. Play on.
His lower leg.
Stand.
Tomlinson involved again.
Get on. Play on.
Gawn. Tall target on the way out. Couldn't mark Petrarca and Windhager. Two strong individuals.
And Paddy, you want him to take that kick that Stephen May did. You leave that guy in the pocket so that you can set up the rest of the field.
That's exactly what they'll be talking about, Tim. It's interesting, both teams. Melbourne have a cluster in the middle of the ground before they spread. St Kilda are overloading one side, and then they're going...
Holding, Melbourne. Advantage, play on, me.
Petrarca takes the advantage from the holding free kick, finds Salem.
Play on.
Then they're going to skinny out number, so two different styles of play from kicking.
Transferring to Hunter. That was clever. Slapped it onto Chandler, and now he's got options. That probably wasn't the one. Out of bounds on the full from Kate Chandler. Oh, yeah, too many options.
If you're Harrison Petty and you've struggled at times to find form, it just kills you when you've got those players running inside forward 50 without any pressure. Just needed to pull the trigger earlier, Dars.
Got to feel sorry for the supporters down the punt right end. They've only had 2 of the 17 scores this afternoon so far.
Good observation, Brownie. Very quiet down there. Free kick.
Yeah, go through.
Hasn't he resurrected his career since he went back again, McDonald?
Go back to 2018, he kicked 50 goals in a season. Tim, you thought, gee, he could hold down a key position forward role and then lost his place, and now back where it began. Viney.
He is a natural defender, though, the way that he positions himself.
Oh. Pops it up. Petrarca couldn't pull it in. Stocker somehow barged his way through. Viney back with the flight. Never going to blink in that scenario. May fends away from Hill. Kicks around the corner to Hunter. Salem. Squaring kick, Neil Bullen.
Jack Viney still on his all fours after that last collision. One of the toughest in the game. Neil Bullen again. They're trying to hit that 30-metre out low bullet, but the Saints are back there with numbers. And they're going to link up Wanganeen-Milera to Paddy Dow. Not a heap forward of centre as a result. Tomlinson's been huge. Owens gave a good contest, but Tomlinson with 17th disposal there has been prolific across half-back.
Spoke about with no lever who is going to be that player, and Tomlinson's more than filled it so far this afternoon.
Just have a look at the pile of St.Kilda players that are down the line. So Sparrow realising that they're going to have to get off the angle a little bit. It's exactly what they do to Salem. Max Gawn providing a lead. The kick was too tall, and Jimmy Webster floats in.
No surprise, Jack Viney waved the trainers away, and he's trying to run out this corky that he's got.
Play on.
Made of concrete. Webster's kick on the way out finds Dow. St Kilda hanging on in defence here.
Go right out now.
He's going to go wide here. That's better. Just retain possession of the ball as you're coming down the field. The Saints don't kick it directly down the line and so predictable.
Play on.
Battle.
Also make Melbourne defend for a bit, so they don't have as much energy when they turn the ball over.
Battle involved again.
Stand.
He's got a short as well. Steele.
Stand. Give out.
Just edging their way forward.
Wow. You.
And Jack Steele just pops that one in the air. Max Gawn, just brilliant.
Stand.
You can't have more admiration for the role someone plays than what Max Gawn does for his team.
Just the wrong kick, though. It's predictable, and it's in line with your ruckman, like with the opposition ruckman. It's exactly where you shouldn't be kicking the ball.
Kilda nest of players here. McAdam laid a good tackle, almost could have been rewarded. Wanganeen-Milera.
That's a good kick.
That is a better kick. Paddy Dow on the back of the handle, just a little errant for Windhager, and it allows some pressure from the D's to be activated. Higgins now scrambling overtime. Got edged off the footy by Oliver. Out in the path of Caleb Windsor, who's squaring kick. Got a bit scrappy out here all of a sudden. Wanganeen-Milera shows a little bit of it to Bailey Fritz. They're under some heat here. The steady hand of Wilkie will prevail.
Wanganeen-Milera into the corridor, bounces in front of Windhager. It's been sloppy. He's caught by Neil Bullen. He's gone. And it's really not his fault. It was a terrible kick. Neil Bullen to Rivers. Approaches the 50. Can go for home. And Rivers misses.
Well, it was the second time they were out. They're out on this near side wing as well, and then they just turned the ball over. This is the, looks like a cork in the buttock there, I reckon. Just the knee.
Oh, right in the gut, is it? Was it the knee first? That first right knee?
Looks like he was, the trainer was attending to his, or the physio was attending to his hip.
Stand now.
Right on the hip pointer, I think.
Nelson was coughed it up to Van Rooyen. Cosy Pickett demanding it deep. He goes short to Langdon instead, but opens the door now for Webster. Picked up again by Langdon. Good tackle pressure from St Kilda there, making the Saints work harder in this term. A kick coming around the corner. May, as he does so often, read the play, but Saints are going to link up. Bradley Hill in really good hands now. Wants a 1-2. Sprinting through the corridor. Good chase. Chandler hands it over the top. Henry can score for St Kilda. He's missed. Out of bounds on the full.
Dallas, that's exactly what they need to be able to do. We haven't seen that on any other occasion this afternoon. That is ball in the hands of Hill
the handball.
and ball in the hands of Liam Henry. I think they're their two best ball players in the team. Great decision makers, got great leg speed, kick the ball really well. Easier said than done to get the ball in their hands, but they look different when they do.
And Melbourne have clearly been aware of that. Brad Hill's had the 8 disposals and Henry's had the 5. So that's been a focus point for them going into the game, to nullify that run that both those two players give St Kilda.
It's been a significantly better quarter from the Saints. Belted back towards the boundary. It's Melbourne by 25 points at quarter time, 4-7 to 1 straight.
It's not always a great afternoon in the coach's box.
Stocker and Petrarca going at it off ball at the moment.
Gawn releases Petrarca. What play from the big man. And Petrarca goes towards Fritsch. Webster's got a problem. Gets to the back. Wilkie. Pickett tries to cut through them, drop the ball. Crowd want to holding the ball. Fritsch onto his non-preferred. Whatever foots, whatever day, Bailey Fritsch will hurt you. D's back out by 24 points. A rare goal down at the punt road end. Narrm's 5th of the encounter. And Bailey Fritsch with a couple.
It's a beautiful snap by Fritsch, but it was set up by this play from Gawn and Petrarca. The overlap turning inside puts the St Kilda defence under a huge amount of pressure. It's his second right foot snap for the game for 2 goals.
It is interesting way that Pickett got rid of that ball too.
Well, the question was whether he took on the tackle and was there prior opportunity. I suspect there probably was, Tim.
Looked like there was.
Dow just hacks it forward. Tomlinson playing a game of his life.
Stand, Anthony.
In the first half. This will be disposal number 18, and as Paddy Dangerfield pointed out, he's been perfect replacement for Jake Lever.
So St Kilda win the centre clearance, but they don't get the value for money that Melbourne have got out of their stoppage wins so far. Tomlinson, I think it's his 8th intercept. They're just controlling so much of the important parts of the game.
Neil Bullen has been able to push on through what looked like a nasty cork thigh through the hands of Marshall. And they will scramble for a boundary throw-in.
That's where they've been great too, Melbourne. The pressure they've applied. You see Todd Viney just getting some treatment to that hip, about to come back on the ground. But that's where they've been great, is their ability. They lose the ball and their ability to win the ball back again.
I hope Todd's not playing. If Todd's coming out, Melbourne are in trouble.
I think Jack was tough. You should have seen Todd out there.
He'd still be putting his head over it. I'm not sure he'd get to as many contests as he used to, as Ross puts it out of bounds on the full.
I had Todd as one of my first midfield coaches, and if you didn't put your head in the hole, I tell you what, the feedback was coming thick and fast.
I don't think he's changed much.
Those rules may have applied around the Viney household as well, Danger.
Play on.
Bowie thrusts Narrm forward, and Penny rises and almost pulls in a screamer. Battles clearing kicker, touch ball. Dow tapped it down to Hill. Hand pass to Owens. Owens gets away from them. That's a creative hand pass to Steele. More run from Sinclair and Hill. That's what they need. Kings alone at half forward. Higgins streaming back. He kicks it out towards Higgins. McVee did well to make the spoil, and now gets it towards the boundary. Goes through the legs of McDonald. Wood got it out. Sinclair to Higgins. Must kick it. Kicked it dreadfully. Off balance, off the outside of the boot. Bonner keeps it alive. Tries to slip the Windsor tackle. Comes back to Steele.
Really clever play from Bonner. Selfless, presence of mind to find Steele inside rather than blaze away and have the... Maybe he's a forward. Defenders don't do that sort of thing, Tim.
I think it was his handball from Mitch Owens, as you called, what he just found some space in the corridor and set up that whole creative play.
And that's what St Kilda need to be able to do, get Brad Hill involved in that game, in that link.
St Kilda must do what Narrm has not, and that is take every opportunity. And Steele drives it through for Euro-Yroke. The Saints get their 3rd. Margin cut to 18 points. Tim Watson talked about just incrementally bringing it back. That's the way the Saints need to go about it. They've managed to win this quarter so far, still with 1:44 to go. Euro-Yroke in this term with 2 goals 3, and Melbourne Narrm 1 goal 2.
I think one of the things that St Kilda has done this better this quarter is make it more difficult for Melbourne to exit their back 50. Good play here by Bonner, and then just really smart and intelligent play to kick the ball over to Jack Steele. And you need the skipper to finish.
Yeah, absolutely.
Marshall and Gawn. That's Gawn had it stolen away though by Sinclair. Bowie, and he just Tim Watson described, you feel this D's feeling that extra bit of pressure now, and on the back of it, Stocker, forward handball though, picked out Petrarca. Now they've got some run. Bowie. Oh, good defensive effort. Dougal Howard was right up on his man, and
Just a hit.
It was a great press by Stocker. It was just unfortunate that he ran into trouble because he really did read the play early there.
Gawn takes front position. No decisive knock there. Langdon shoots it up, but well read by Steele. Back to Ross. Steele almost got in his way, had to take evasive action. Underneath it, Bowie. Knocked down by Owens. Henry. Here's some more overlap for the Saints. Ross finds Higgins. Higgins wheels. Kicks towards Caminiti and King. They might be working their way back into this.
They've attacked the corridor in this second quarter in the right way. They tried to attack the corridor in the first quarter, but in the second, there's just a great contest there by Owens, and then this guy's really smart too, Liam Henry. But this is great. Swing and go. Get the ball in there as quick as you can.
Just puts the defense off. They don't have the time to set up and guard dangerous space. They have to actually report to a man.
King second for the quarter, and the margin has been pegged back to 2 straight kicks.
The other thing, Paddy, about the centre bounce stuff, if you're rucking to the losing ruckman, at some point you've got to start saying, okay, let's forget about roving to Marshall. Let's start actually looking at Gawn and what he's doing and start sharking those. And I think they've done that the last couple of times.
Just see bottom of the picture here, just the leading pattern from King. He's always on the move, so May has to react to his body position. If he's stationary, then it's easy for May to read. He moves across the formation and then comes back at the ball carrier.
Quarter-time lead with D's way was 25 points. Saints have been able to drag that back to just 12.
That side, same side, same side.
Not far from half-time. Great credit to their fighting ability.
Holding Melbourne.
Felt like it was very one-sided early. Is there a chance of a late goal here? Rivers is going to go inside 50. They need a mark. Van Rooyen launches. They're going to run out of time for another late score. McAdam picked it up, but there is the half-time siren.
So at times it was a little scrappy, a little inaccurate, very dour and defensive and low scoring. But good news for Saints fans is they're showing a bit of fight here as they try and break into their huddles. I think the target there might be Christian Petrarca, who hasn't had too bad an opening half. Plenty of verbal love being exchanged between the two.
He's got to start marking it, Marshall. He's got to get around the ground more on Max Gawn.
OK, it's Melbourne by 12 points as we turn into the third quarter.
Kilda looking for their 4th win of the season. Euro-Yroke, as they're known as in Indigenous round. Caminiti comes out. Henry's here. Out towards King, who kicked the 2 goals in the second quarter. Not sure what to do with it. Bouncing around all over the place and then putting it into the crowd. The indecision got the better of him. And May will have the free kick for the D's.
It was the right start around the ball for St Kilda. It was a much improved second quarter for them. Evened up the centre bounces 5 apiece.
Petrarca on the back flank.
Play on.
Goes towards McAdam. Battle worked his way to the front, almost marked it. Chandler. Slick hand pass to Oliver. Oliver has thrown that up to Viney. Free kick, Euro-Yroke.
Now, please, thank you. Time back on. Stand.
So Wanganeen-Milera just love getting the ball in his hands because he hits targets like that to Henry, who's starting the centre bounce. And here are the good decision makers and ball users combining for the Saints, and that's the end result. Caminiti's been paid the mark. Exactly the style of play that we've been talking about, and it looks dangerous, doesn't it?
It does. You get the ball in the hands of those players. Liam Henry into the centre. He started going into stoppages in the second quarter, and it sort of made a difference. But he and Hill have such a great connection. You just wonder when Melbourne might actually start to think about putting the clamps on those guys.
Well, they definitely were aware of them in the first quarter. They controlled them quite well. But it's that kick inside that really opened up the forward 50 and results in the shot at goal.
Can Caminiti convert? He's given it a bit of a hook, and that hurts. Bad miss.
Clean bill of health for both of these teams down here on the boundary. I think one of the main things that turned from the first quarter to the second quarter was St Kilda averaged 100 marks a game against Melbourne. In the first quarter, they were limited to just 12, and they turned that around to 25 in the second quarter. So able to maintain possession, especially that composed possession danger, so important for this St Kilda side.
Just enables you to control more of the ball. Spend your energy in attack rather than defending the whole time. Take the energy out of your opponent.
Gawn, as he has done for much of the game, takes front position at the boundary throw-in. Wood couldn't quite pick up Henry, harassed off it by Chandler. Mason Wood's had the 17 disposals now. He's had over 20 disposals, Wood, in each of his 3 games back from the collarbone injury.
Saints have turned this game into a real arm wrestle.
Holding, Melbourne.
Oh, Marshall.
Stand, time back on.
Pleading the umpire that it wasn't a free kick. Max Gawn has been more than a handful. Happy to chip it around into the hands of Lockie Hunter.
He's so physical at those stoppages too. He actually just forces himself upon the opposition ruckman and gets them to make a decision. Often it's a holding one.
Marshall's got back well into the hole.
Right.
That is a good contested mark. Pat coming down on him, and Rowan Marshall stood tall.
But if he kicks down the line, he's actually going to be kicking to his opposite ruckman. So this is exactly what's going to happen.
There he goes. Max has got to come from the side. One-handed attempt from Wood. Steele works it to the boundary.
He did pull the kick well late.
He saw it and
kept it wide, yeah.
What can Petrarca and Oliver do around these stoppages too? They've had modest totals to half-time.
Well, I think you're seeing it with Gawn trying that forward swipe and those two getting on the move a bit more.
Gawn uses his body, takes possession in front. Petty couldn't quite take the mark. Wood goes back. Wanganeen-Milera. Henry back to Wanganeen-Milera. Hand pass out in front of Owens. Tries to soccer it on. It was just all a little too messy. Pickett back infield. Just finds Salem.
About the degree of difficulty on that kick from Cozzy Pickett. McAdam in a one-on-one wrestle. Battle with a superior body strength. One out. Can they launch from here? Jack Steele got the overlap runner out wide. Mason Wood sends it high. Caminiti's going to launch at it. Rowan Marshall casting the role of a rover to Hill. Sweeps the handball back inside to Owens. Back to Caminiti. A little bit of a hesitation there for a moment, and that resulted in another out of bounds on the full.
May doing lots of gesticulating. Trying to get some movement. So many stationary figures around the ground. Gawn's a good option in that scenario. Can't mark this one. Wood, Steele, back to Wood. Under pressure from Petrarca. It's a high one to half forward. Free kick going the way of Caminiti.
Didn't need to do that. Melbourne had the outnumber.
Caminiti goes deep. McVie in front of Higgins, outpointed him.
He's a good player, this kid. Super defender.
Brilliant body positioning, wasn't it?
And he's played on some of the best half-forwards in the competition too.
This game just descended into a real scrap. It's without any flow or ball movement. Both sides are spending a lot of time defending, and remarkably, it's only an 11-point margin. It gives St Kilda a big chance. Petrarca's got Stocker running around with him, and they've been going at each other for a period of time. As Robert Harvey shakes his head, didn't like something on the screen.
I think the balance for Petrarca with this is don't get caught up trying to fight the whole game. Still look to bring your game. Stocker is of less importance to St Kilda's game than what Petrarca is to Melbourne, but Stocker's playing a pivotal role on one of their most important.
Tom McDonald here to relatively comfortable mark in defence. Now trying to find Petrarca, who's worked hard to get back to this one.
Petrarca into the middle, hard running Langdon, good kick. Langdon cuts back infield, finds Pickett. Fritsch at full forward. Tried to shrug the tackle, got taken high there, Pickett. He's too far out, so he goes in the McAdam direction, jumps early, bounced off the chest of Wilkie, but he keeps it in front of him. Howard, Steele, and now Wilson to bring Euro-Yroke clear. By hand to Sinclair, under pressure, flicked it on towards Hill, didn't get there though. Salem interrupts it. Sparrow, Petrarca, Oliver on the fly. Gawn with a great look at this. One-handed and pulls it in. Tapped it to his own advantage and completed the mark.
Just protected that drop zone so well. You can see that initial contact. Eyes always on the ball.
Harrison, jump out. No. 5 metre there. Yeah, we are.
Gawn a chance to go back and kick the first goal of the second half.
Jump out with me.
And a very pronounced influence on the game already with this outstanding ruck craft. Now for a goal. He pops it through. A touch of breathing space for Narrm. Skips out to a 17-point lead. Gawn will come off for a break. As we'll see Van Rooyen go into the middle of the ground. And Gawn receive a warm reception from the Melbourne faithful.
And this is what you need to do after a turnover. You've got to create a goal-scoring opportunity. That's exactly what they did with Max down there deep, taking Marshall into some deep water down there, and he probably doesn't want to be the one-on-one defender against somebody who's such a great body player that Max is, and a good reaction there too from the big fella.
Van Rooyen steps up to the plate, the centre bounce. He's got a nice jump, athletic ability. Marshall, aggressive tackle.
Great follow-up work from the big ruckman.
And he needed to, with Gawn off the ground, with Petrarca off the ground. This is where they need to capitalise in the midfield, St Kilda.
Holding, St Kilda.
And that's often what happens, Paddy, is the undersized ruckman over commits a little bit, and you draw a free kick, and here we go through Bradley Hill. It's Caminiti down there, but again, Tom McDonald.
Great mark.
Brilliant mark.
Comes to the back flank. Sparrow over the top of Ross. Salem wants it in field and receives. Pickett's on his own in the corridor. That is risky, leaving a player of his quality unattended. Goes to the impressive McVie. Short to Oliver. Possession number 15 for Oliver. It's a short pass to Salem. Steadily progressing with minimal risk. Now the decisive one towards Petty. Clears him. Wanganeen-Milera at the back. Can work in tandem with Wood to bring the Saints out.
He's got an option provided Darcy Wilson has it at half back. Plays on around the mark. heads in the Max King direction. He had a mismatch with Rivers, but there is Stephen May, always not far away. Wilson, impressive, came charging at it. Paddy Dow releasing handball, was okay to steal and gets it back. Paddy Dow, this is the important kick, but Tom McDonald, it's Tomlinson or either one, they have been...
There's been 4 intercept marks already in this third quarter.
Is confidence sapping that, isn't it, when you go forward and it comes back with interest.
Oliver at centre-half back.
Stand.
Especially with how Melbourne are using the ball and making St Kilda spend a lot of time in defence. They're spreading the ground.
May got enough time to take possession, regain his composure, find Hunter. Hunter played the 5 games in the VFL after his delayed start to the season with a calf injury. Viney. Fritsch, Battle's got to impose himself here and does so.
It's really slowed the game now, hasn't it?
It's been that final kick, though.
Yeah.
That final kick inside forward 50. They've built the ball up so well. It's just that final piece of execution that's hurt Melbourne.
Do you think this is more on St Kilda's terms, the game, the way it's been played now?
I feel like that keeps them well and truly in the game. It's under 3 goals. Still plenty of time left, not even the halfway mark of the third term. Marshall's doing a power of work, picked up though by Viney. Salem under some Windhager pressure, and that affected the kick. And they just have battled it out here, St Kilda.
A lot of the ball this bloke too. That's a dangerous kick.
Is full of risk, but full of reward potentially as well. Bradley Hill slices his way through. Now the overlap one comes to Riley Bonner. Normally a beautiful kick. Collard's going to have to stand under one. And again an intercept mark. Tom McDonald has done it again.
They are impenetrable at the moment.
Well, St Kilda playing right into their hands, though, Al, the way that they're actually bringing the ball forward.
There's options there to hit. It's the conversion at the moment. If you're a St Kilda forward, you're pulling your hair out.
They just have to take the ball off the line when they're coming down the ground like that, because they're playing right into the hands of the Melbourne defenders, who just find it too easy to read those kicks.
Petrarca was told to play on, kick not 15. Petty from the side. Neil Bullen underneath, but Dow cracked in. He's caught by McAdam and Pickett. Umpire let it go a long time. Viney walks through them. Chandler. He's got Van Rooyen in the pocket. Marshall across the front to make the spoil.
See, they're forcing Marshall to work, though, aren't they? The way they're pushing forward like that when they're up against him in the ruck. There's another great mark here by McDonald. Just kicking it to the defenders, though, making it so much easier for them to read the ball in the air.
You're right, Tim. You can start to see the fatigue on Marshall's face as it's doing a huge amount of work.
Gawn's had a good break. Just come back onto the ground, but he'll be fresh, and that is going to be some more work for Marshall. Well done, Webster. Releasing kick into the path of Wilson. It was ricocheted to Mason Wood. Can they get a contested mark? Collard. Oh, McDonald. That was a gift that he could have had another intercept mark. Good run follow-up from Wilson. Max King, can he launch over the top? Free kick is going to go the way of Max King.
Time back on. Stand. Max, on your line, please.
Tomlinson.
Don't switch.
A little bit of a round arm around the side of the head, and a free kick to Max King, who's turned his back and decided he's going to have a go from here. Kicked 2 goals in the second quarter, including his career 150th. This would be huge for the Saints. Going to take a kick of great quality. He's given it a high, wide ride, and Max Gawn again always is where he needs to be on the line, and forced it through.
You just see Max absolutely charge out of that goal square.
May initially short to Salem. Gawn could be the option on the way out, although he's looking laterally back to May. Now Viney. Viney keeps on running. Kicks towards Petty on the wing. He fell over. Webster dropped what he should have taken. Chandler out in front of Pickett. Pickett kicks to Van Rooyen. He's in the box seats. Can't mark. Is that not a free kick? Van Rooyen didn't care. Finishes it off.
That's great play there by Viney. The fact that he took that ball at half back, popped into a space, and then just ran on straight away, just sensing what was downfield, and the fact that they were going to have the numbers there to be able to operate the ball forward. So a really good quick rebound from one end of the ground to the other, caught the St Kilda defence off guard and outnumbered.
Penetrating Viney kick. And Melbourne's ability to come back through the corridor and attack the full face of goal. Feels like this is a big lead in the context of the game with how many goals that we've seen so far.
Well, to give it some context, it's a 22-point margin, and St Kilda's total score up to this point is 29. And here they go again through Neil Bull and Petrarca. No one in better shape than the track from that spot, and he hammered it home. 3 unanswered goals, Melbourne. Out to a 28-point lead, Petrarca at his damaging best, and all of a sudden, danger, that does feel like a long way back.
It's as big as it's been at any stage now. 2 in a minute for Narrm, 3 for the quarter.
Well, Max Gawn gets a great tap, but it's well read there. But the collision from Liam Henry still just enables the ball to spill. Great handball out to Petrarca.
I feel like Soccer's done a good job, but players like Petrarca, they don't need a lot of room in order to hurt you. And his ability to finish, be that goal-kicking midfielder, critical for Melbourne.
Tap down by Gawn to Henry this time. Bends it inside the 50. Rivers hands to it. McDonald a hand pass. Oliver. May wants to use his left boot. Squeeze a kick through. Little toe poke off the side of the boot from Van Rooyen. Creative Sparrow. Petrarca. Neil Bullen closed down by Marshall. Hand pass from Bonner. Henry. Sinclair. Windhager comes to meet it. Took contact. Was strong over the ball. He missed Sinclair with a hand pass. Goes again with commitment. Oliver stole it though, out to Windsor. He's got Langdon breaking to half forward, and then Fritsch might lead to the pocket. Instead, he goes back towards goal. It's a squaring kick, and Chandler slides into mark. Narrm getting hold of this game now.
That was a great forced turnover here on the wing. They worked extremely hard to get numbers at the ball, at the player with the ball, finally working the ball out of there and then getting it in the hands of Langdon, who had some space to deliver.
It's a beautiful kick across body.
Chandler sizes things up to the city end. For 4 unanswered goals to the D's in this quarter. And a very significant gap. He's a fine finisher. So a margin that through the early stages, the early minutes of this third quarter had been reduced to 11 points, has now been blown out to 34. On the back of goals to Gawn, Van Rooyen, Petrarca, and now Chandler.
Well, this is the turnover game that Simon Goodwin spoke about before the game, and that is how hard they had to work around that ball to actually win the ball back. St Kilda looked like they're going to escape about 3 times there. Players just kept coming at the player with the ball, providing extra numbers, and then they finally got it out to Langdon. Now they've taken it inside 11 times in this third term for 4 goals, so their efficiency's right up.
Amazing to think Max King had a kick 3 minutes ago to drag the margin back to 11 points. It's now at the 34. Melbourne have kicked 3 goals from their last 6 kicks. Well done, Henry. Stopped that one in its tracks. Can Paddy Dow get one back the other way. Windhager. This is a better build-up. Sinclair charging through half forward. Oh, well done, Bowie. That was brilliant defensive play. And got it back again, Bowie. Inspirational stuff at half back. And again, it's the D's who've just got all the answers. Crafted kick from Max Gawn. He thought about going over the top. He had the Catam out there instead. Sparrow, and it is starting to unravel here at the MCG.
And that's what happens when you get a great defensive play like that smother, because Marshall had actually pushed forward believing that they were going to control the ball, and then Max looks up, sees that, and then takes off going the opposite direction. Great smother again.
Just kills you across half-back in that area of the ground, and the open side kick from Max Gawn. Perfectly executed.
Some brilliance from the D's. Can Tom Sparrow put the icing on the cake and make it 5 unanswered goals? He hits the post.
It's where footy's a game of inches. St Kilda have the opportunity to get a deep inside forward 50. Instead, they turn it over and the ball goes up the other end and lose a scoring opportunity.
Howard back to Bonner. Bonner to the southern wing. Marshall dragged Gawn down.
Melbourne pulled him down by the arm. Melbourne, Gawn.
It's pretty blatant.
Stand.
Gawn to Langdon.
Stand. Stand.
Coming into this game, Marshall had been averaging the last 2 games 30 disposals. He's had just the 8 so far. Max Gawn has had 15 and been a dominant force around the stoppages with his tap play as well.
Just see a bit of the frustration in Marshall as well. A few free kicks given away. Worried about Max's big swipe.
McDonald goes to the edge of 50. Out comes McAdam, ran into Sparrow. Friendly fire. Steele, Bonner, careful with his kick to Wilson.
Stand.
Becomes a real mental game and a real mental challenge too when teams put goals on as quickly as what Melbourne has, and you've given a fair bit St Kilda did in that second quarter, and now they've got to raise the levels of their energy again.
He couldn't quite get a handle on it. Owens to Ross. One-on-one chance for Higgins. He got out the back of Bowie. Managed to secure an opportunity to Jack Higgins to kick his first goal of the afternoon.
It's a really well-weighted kick as well, because off ball, Hunter was rolling back.
Plays on and around the body. First goal for Jack Higgins. He is their leading goal kicker of the year. $14 goals, 8 for Jack Higgins. 3-week suspension he's returned from, and hasn't been an easy afternoon for St Kilda's forward line.
Stephen May not being able to kill that ball either by mark or punching the ball away. They got it to the outside. They haven't been able to do that too often, but that's a really good, deep, penetrating kick to the man. Higgins there, and a clever finish by him.
Sinclair watched closely by Viney at the stoppage. Oliver, sharp hand pass off balance to Salem, who slipped through. Kicks towards Gawn. Big fist from Stocker. Viney, pinched by Wanganeen-Milera. Sparrow tackled, then ripped it away, but the umpire had already blown the whistle.
I love how Max cops a knee in the back and then just gets up. Like, he's just no fuss. There's no wonder we talk about him the way that we do in terms of his leadership, his impact on the game.
Owens, no good, that hand pass. Hunter, his kick errant.
That has to be the first give then by Owens. Like, he actually held on to the ball, just hoping that maybe a better option would arise. As you see Neil Danaher, their big weekend in a couple of weekends' time, a big freeze at the G for the 10th time.
How good are the new beanies too, Tim? They're fantastic. It's a badge of honour. That's a round of applause at the MCG when the picture of the great Neil Danaher appeared on the screen, and it just brings a smile to your face every time you see one of the most inspirational people we've seen. Speaking of inspiration, Jack Viney, it is all one way And the D's are back out to 35 points. Melbourne fans enjoying their afternoon. 35-point lead. They have bounced back from a pretty disappointing loss last week to the West Coast Eagles, and looks like we might have some sub-action coming up.
St Kilda have activated their sub. Cooper Sharman has been thrown into this contest. Great finish there from Jack Finer, who copped a massive corky in that second term too, so he's back fit and firing, but Cooper Sharman comes on for Lance Collar.
Thanks, Brownie. Melbourne has made its move in the third quarter. Marshall taps it down. Steele gave it straight to Pickett. Look at his fleet of foot. Neil Bullen, too much on that kick. Stocker.
Play on.
To Hill.
Play on.
Try to take as many opportunities to play on now as they can, the Saints. Higgins. Higgins wheels and kicks towards King. McDonald setting himself. Marshall in front. Taken by Tomlinson. He's caught. Got a hand pass away towards Bowie. Steele there. Took possession. Hard on the boundary. Kicks back infield towards King. Higgins and Sparrow. Sparrow nudged him out of the way. Neil Bullen gives it in tight to Chandler. Closed down by King. King gets away from them. Off to Sinclair. Off the outside of the boots. What goalkeeping at full stretch from McVie.
The one-handed hold of the Sharon too from Judd McVie. It was impressive defending. He has become a really important part of this team, Judd McVie. Melbourne again resolute in defence. Petty on the wing, off his hands and out of bounds.
And this is why Melbourne love Cosy at the centre bounces. Just watch this step. Bang. So agile. Out of congestion, and there's that goal line mark there by McVie, but out of congestion into open space, and those players are worth their weight in gold.
Can't teach what Cosy does, can you? It's so instinctive. And then again, Max Gawn continues his dominant afternoon. I always feel like he relishes a contender coming up, and an informed ruckman. He's seen a few off over the journey. Big Max. So 5-goal to 1 quarter. The way of Narrm, and they continue to attack. Petty in the pack. Try to slap it forward McAdam. There's Marshall, who's worked his heart out. He just hasn't been able to have the impact. Oh, that was nearly nasty. Neil Bullen, accidental collision with the fence. He's a no-fuss player too, Paddy. Alex Neil Bullen gets himself up.
Yeah, he certainly is. Been a very good player for Melbourne for a long time. Yeah, just on the ruck battle, like, it's not like Marshall's been terrible. You're just up against a generational talent in Max Gawn.
He got it again, but gave it to Windhager, went the fend and kicked it straight to Hunter.
Outside 5.
Well, like, it's a bit like when I remember playing against, we'd play against Gary Ablett. If you kept him to 32 and a couple of goals, it was like, oh, we've kept Gary quiet today. That's a bit of Max Gawn with his impact as a ruckman. He's measured on a different level, I feel.
And that hit Van Rooyen in the chin. Petrarca, Viney, Pickett going by in the pocket. Goal umpire doesn't move. He is a special footballer. And the margin is 41 points. This has happened really quickly. They've just taken charge, Narrm. Euro-Yroke has not had an answer to the onslaught. A 6-goal 1 quarter for Narrm to 1 goal to Euro-Yroke.
Well, I think, Paddy, one of the great things too about pushing these guys up into the midfield, they start to get their hands on the ball a lot more than what they do if they're there as a permanent half forward. They start to build their confidence, and we know that he's capable of doing that sort of stuff, whether he plays as a half forward or he comes out of the centre that we saw a moment ago. And he's back in the centre bounce again, and he's a real weapon for them around the ball.
I think it gives you the confidence when you do have those opportunities that are you know, the boundary line ones, you've had plenty of the footy, so you feel confident in your game.
5 goals won the D's from their last 7 inside forward 50s. Paddy Dow immediately set upon.
They've had a real hunger for the competition, though, too. There's Petty. Looks like his day might be done.
Scrap on this MCC members wing. Harry Petty gets a bit more attention from the physio. A bit of a restrapping and get the big fella back out there. Neil Bullen's kick. And he travelled a metre or so, and it was a 6-goal-to-1 quarter. A 12-point half-time lead turns into a 41.3-quarter domination. It's Narrm 11-10-76. Euro-Yroke 5-5-35. 3-quarter time. Sunday afternoon footy here at the MCG.
You're watching Sunday Ticket on Fox.
So Narrm has taken this contest by the scruff of its neck. In 1 minute and 44, they booted 3 goals. Van Rooyen, Petrarca, of course he's never going to miss from there, and then Chandler. They got it out to a 34-point lead, cracked the game wide open, and at 3-quarter time it is a 41-point lead, 11-10-77 to 5-5-35. Brad Johnson, Max Gawn, he's been in your rolling All-Australian team pretty much for every week of this year. He's going for his 7th All-Australian blazer this season. What has he done to Rowan Marshall this afternoon at the MCG?
He's dominated him again. He's dominated another opposition ruckman. And Marshall coming off 31 disposals last week, best on-ground performance for the Saints. His first half, he was just more conscious of where Max was than playing his own game. He hadn't taken a mark. Took this at the start of the 3rd quarter. OK, he's changing things up, doing things a little bit differently. But Max does his best work once again, gets in behind, goes and hits the scoreboard and just makes Marshall question again where he's at in this particular game. So for Max Gawn, once again, he's dominated and he's been the inspiration. This was the biggest matchup on the day, and who was going to be able to control this was going to have a say in the contest. And Max has had a big say in the contest, and he's obviously hit out to advantage of being through the roof, so and that was a big goal.
Heading in, were they the 2 best, most informed ruckmen, do you think, in the competition? Is it
Marshall's been pretty consistent, yeah, and he had that big breakout game for his year last week, and you just would have thought, well, can he replicate, you know, to get to that level again? But Max just hasn't allowed him to do it, and you can see the stats there, 18 disposals to 7, 29 hit-outs to 14, 8 clearances for Max, and a goal now as well. Yeah, incredible. He's heading for his 7th All-Australian blazer, as we said, I think 5 in a row at one point. What would be going through the mind of that man right now? Oh, just maybe get some freedom back into the performance, try and win the last quarter, take something out of it from that point of view. But it wasn't much going on, and then Melbourne were able to blow it out, as you said, in about a 5-minute period. Yeah, 6 of the last 7 goals the D's have kicked. It was 25 points at quarter time. It was 12 points at half time. And now it is 41 points as arguably the best player on the ground gets ready to roll into the 4th term.
Quite literally. So Marshall and Gawn to get us underway in the final quarter. Pickett got taken high by Steele.
Pickett. Not on you.
Petty
Stand.
not looking overly convincing down there.
Please move out now. Play on.
Pickett.
Yours ends up.
A low one inside 50. McAdam taken out of the contest perhaps. Stocker had it, lost it, got it again. Good tackle, McAdam. Bowie up over the top on Higgins. Salem has Hunter in support, feeds it back to Bowie, to Chandler. Squaring kick, Langdon dropped it. Marshall caught by the arm, dragged down. Henry comes away. Higgins can't quite. He does manage to gather and give to Steele.
Max King's the target. The strength of May on display. King's second effort was good. He's going to take on the tackle of Tomlinson. Handball was good to Steele. Back to King. Feeds it over the top to Sinclair. Can they score on the back of this build-up? Look at Max Gawn get back and just refusing to concede at all the D's. Steele over the top of Oliver. Going to fire that handball over the top. Chance to go back inside 50 again. Well, that's a hospital handball. Sinclair did well, though. Slapped it forward. Henry. Again, the defensive effort from the D's. is almost impenetrable. Sinclair took on a couple, was tackled by Viney.
That's a great call, Dance, because that was terrific play there by Salem. Like the concentration around the ball then, where Liam Henry went to go one way, and he was still able to blunt the handball.
Hard on the boundary, Henry. King in a tangle with Tomlinson, and Tomlinson who's had a super day had the free kick. Became a father a few months back. Cass welcoming little Lockie into the world. Gawn held.
Been good sailing too. He's up to 26 disposals, 63% by foot.
Play on, not 15, play on.
Hunter told to go as well, and he goes neatly to Sparrow.
Such an architect by foot for Melbourne, the way that he plays across half-back. They've obviously got the air prowess of Lever and May, and Tomlinson's done a terrific job along with McDonald tonight. But Salem, his use of ball by foot is up there with the best in the competition.
Seen a lot of this too, Danger, across the afternoon, where every time they've wanted to Narrm, they've been able to, it seems, find uncontested marks. Penetrating kick from May. Stocker dropped it, opens the door for Petrarca. Nice handball back from McAdam to Petrarca, and they've got a couple of numbers here. Langdon could have shared it, decided to have a shot himself and missed.
He's kicked the leather off that thing, Darcy. He couldn't have kicked that any harder then.
Langdon.
Play on.
The three behinds today. Wanganeen-Milera bringing it back in. Marshall and Gawn. That's come off the boot of Marshall. Sort of typifies his day, really. He has been up against it. The premier ruckman in the competition, Max Gawn, doing his thing. Pickett sets for a fly. McAdam as well. Either got it, got overly near it, and Windhager has, in the end, put that through for a rush behind.
It's such a disappointing afternoon again for St Kilda, though, isn't it? 5 goals, 5 into the last quarter, just 31 inside 50s. It's just never going to get the job done. They're just not generating enough scoring opportunities.
Even the type of scoring opportunities, like there's not the space for, King's been spoken about a bit, but there's not the space for him to work into.
Henry tried to launch over Viney. Frustrating afternoon for Saints fans. They need to rethink their risk profile, Danger and Watto. Do they have to try and...
Well, I think Henry's been really good when he's gone in the midfield. He's been a good change up forward, good speed. They've obviously missed him with his absence with his hamstring injury. The other one that hasn't been spoken about as much is Brad Crouch. He's an important midfielder for them.
Owen's kick again. The amount of marks that have been taken across half-back from Melbourne is quite extraordinary.
Stand, clear out, clear out.
Knowing it and fixing it are obviously two really different things. Like Ross would know better than anybody what their problem is, but whether he believes he's got the cattle to be able to change it up enough, or whether the players are buying into it enough. It has to be fixed, though. Like, you're just going nowhere at the moment.
Viney. Pickett goes very early again. If he times his jump, he might take something that could be considered a contender for Mark of the Year as much as Jamie Elliott. His effort would take some surpassing. Steele to King. May back with the flight. Superb, and bullets it into the corridor for Neil Bullen.
This is that turnover ability that Simon Goodwin just wanted to talk about all pre-game, is scoring from turnovers. Well done, Ryan Marshall. Got back. He was able to battle his way into the contest. Jack Steele to Paddy Dow. The runners coming through now. Wanganeen-Milera and Hill. Funny little toe-poking kick, that one. Warning Caminiti, and it was easily defended by Neil Bullen.
They've been hard to play against since half-time, Melbourne. They've been really good defensively. Probably just let themselves down a bit in that second term when the pressure came off St Kilda, but started the game well. Really good in the third term, and again in this last quarter, really difficult to penetrate.
One clip there would be what you would show of Stephen May. The reason why he's been a multiple All-Australian is ability to play in front, but still get back and defend. Owens feigned a little handball. Again, Look at Tom McDonald, another intercept mark for the Demons defence have put on some sort of clinic here at the MCG.
And now they're off to the races. Good chase, Wilson, but Rivers had a few metres on him. Petrarca, he'll take a few metres on Howard. Howard gave away the professional free, and Petty said, my man Track's kicking it all the same. That went from one end to the other in the blink of an eye. Narrm are now starting to exact full toll. And everyone, the duffel coat wearers, the beanie wearers, the scarf wavers, they're loving it.
Well, Danger, they've launched a lot of their attack from that halfback.
It's been the story of the game, hasn't it, really? I think, like, this is, for me, this is the Petrarca game. It's 20 to 25 disposals, and it's goal impact. It's scoreboard impact. That's the beauty of him.
They put some work into the track with Stocker, but as you said, Dangerous, look up. He's had 21 touches, kicked a couple of goals, and always looked likely. Hill. But we don't argue when Khan Lockie Hunter runs his full measure. Again, look at the Melbourne defenders just searching for the spoil. Ross trying to craft a kick to King. Took on a tackler. Managed to get through, but the handball only as far as Neil Bull. And Seb Ross can pick it up again. Nice little sidestep. Goal coming up for Seb Ross. Has he manufactured one? He's missed.
I think too often, Das, we get confused with disposals and impact, and I think that's what, for me, Petrarca seems really clear on now. This is my role. It's not about getting 30. It's about scoreboard impact. It's around helping us create scoring opportunities. And he just looks really clear for me. And he's impacting games, I think, more than he ever has.
That's a really good point, because he's best in the competition for scoring assists. His third disposals won in the forward half, fifth for forward half contested possession. So, like, he does a lot of great work without being able to get 35, 40 touches.
And that's what we should look at, impact. Like, let's not be seduced by, you know, the statistics and, well, certainly, you know, disposal statistics in that sense.
Those numbers you talk about too, Danger. He's had over 20 in every game this season. He's had 29 3 times, so that's his season high, but he's been kicking goals, 13 for the season now.
And you'd rather him do that. You'd rather him kick 2 goals every game and have 25 than have it 35 times and not impact scoring as much.
Dow goes deep. Good hands. Cooper Sharman, the activated sub, will line up.
He's always had a great pair of hands. He has. He's you know, and if he can get under your guard, because he's not one of the biggest, tallest, robust type forwards around, but he's got a great leap. He's got great hands, and you know, they've tried him back, now forward, but I think this is his better position up front.
They'll take every goal they can from here, but the old hips swiveled a touch there, and he pulled it left.
You know, it's hard when you've been sitting on the bench for 3/4 of the game. You come on, you get your first kick, and you know, to be able to just sort of go straight into the right groove.
Tomlinson, disposal number 23. He's been outstanding this afternoon. Want to try to bat it back. Now Windsor. We're back Petrarca in the one-on-one. That is almost an option you take every single time. And you speak about impact, Danger. They look up, they see Track, and they'll back him in every single time.
As they should. He's so powerful one-on-one. Rarely does he get beaten. But you just see him here protect that space.
Clayton,
makes good decisions.
Thank you. Jack, keep coming out, please. Thank you. Stand now.
Saw the activated sub Cooper Sharman have a shot at the other end, and this is Tajwo Woden, who's just come on as the sub. Harrison Petty's gone off, and Woden has missed as well.
Not to get bogged down in statistics, because I know you don't want to do that, Paddy, but when Petrarca kicks the ball inside 50, they score 53% of the time.
Well, there's good statistics in poor ones, Tim. It's, you know, it's the high numbers that we can get seduced by.
Agreed.
Holding Melbourne.
Where a lot of them don't really go anywhere.
Stand.
Free kick for Rivers.
Good on. Play on. End zone.
Low kick to the pockets. Wanted Van Rooyen and got him.
Jimmy, back 2 metres, please. Jimmy, back here. When you stand there.
Van Rooyen with a couple of goals returned from concussion. Fritsch did his job nicely there not to get a hand in with Van Rooyen over the back.
Beautifully weighted kick. We've spoken about Van Rooyen's acceleration off the mark.
Josh, 5 metres behind.
Matched perfectly by a beautifully weighted kick.
Kick.
It's across the face. Through for another minor score. Margin is 49. Down to Campbell Brown.
Well, twice last year, Harrison Petty missed large chunks of football with a foot injury. He's been subbed out of the game. The club is saying nothing major, just precautionary, but he won't be playing any further part.
Thanks, Brownie. Let's hope that is all it is, and nothing untoward. This is a good transition from the Saints. It was a brave kick from fullback, and they've gone coast to coast. Stocker again. How many times have we seen a smother from the D's in defence? Bowie's done it a couple of times, and then this is the procession the other way. Langdon running from half-back, looking for Sparrow. The take initially from McAdam was good, but left it behind. And now Ross to the St Kilda skipper still. Sidestep Woden nicely, and a couple of Saints collide. Higgins and Henry. Owens tracking the edge of 50.
Hey, not 50!
There's a little bit of what the Saints fans have seen tonight. It's been this afternoon. It's been challenging, and now Cozzy Pickett with a one-hander the other way.
Howard just guards ground in front of Pickett. Supervision and well-executed kick to Langdon. Langdon can switch it out wide towards Bowie. Bowie's got territory he can take if he wants to. Instead, the short one to Windsor.
Outside 5. Play on.
Back it comes to Bowie.
You can fill your boots late in the game if you've still got some power in your legs.
Play on.
All the way into the middle for May. 50 metres. So Stephen May will get a chance to kick a goal.
It's a beautiful field kick, Stephen May. For a man of his size, he kicks the ball beautifully around the ground. And there's nothing defenders love more than kicking a goal.
Hasn't kicked a goal since the COVID-affected year of 2020. Jake Lever with a look of excitement and anticipation. He's only kicked 2 goals for Melbourne. Oh, he's going to love every second of that. Soak it up.
I love that, though. I love the celebration and the fact that everyone buys into the celebration. I mean, I think it tells you something about a team and the connection the players have with each other.
And the importance of fun.
Yeah.
You know, it's a serious game, absolutely. It's league football, but you've still got to enjoy the moments. And there's times in game that you should be able to enjoy.
He loved it. He absolutely loved it, Stephen May, and so did his defensive tag team partner, Jake Lever, who's not out there.
It's what footy's all about. You've still got to enjoy the moments. It's a serious game, absolutely, league footy, but there's times when you can let your guard down, have a bit of fun, have a laugh. Easy to do when you're 50 points up, obviously.
It was a joyful moment, wasn't it? Stephen May could not have been smiling more widely than that, and his teammates, Max Gawn, still smiling about it.
Be talking about it all week. Don't worry about that, Das.
So he should. There's plenty of down moments. You've got to celebrate the ups. Wanganeen-Milera. This could be a bright moment for the Saints to the goal line. McDonald going back, was able to take care of it.
Been terrific all game. McDonald really found his feet this season. Gives Melbourne a huge amount of flexibility as well.
So May back at the customary end of the ground for him. We've seen a few of the deep defenders kick goals this weekend. Alex Pearce's was one of the moments of the round, obviously, and Jordan Ridley kicked one. Jake Colin-Jasny kicked one. Now Stephen May. Neil Bullen back to Salem. Salem to Oliver. Oliver takes them on and feeds it to Viney. Viney, 65 out, goes to the pockets. Marshall in front of Woden.
Stand.
Can't help but have admiration for Rowan Marshall today. He has worked his absolute heart out. Just disposal number 12, but hasn't been through lack of trying, but been outplayed this afternoon by a champion in Max Gawn.
On. Play on. Yours.
Jimmy Webster drives it down the line. Just
Well, Darsh, you're a ruckman. Is he in the conversation for the best ruckman ever?
He is, Wispy. He absolutely is, and I think the CV is just going to show it. What he's done for this club has been transformative, and Dean Cox in the last 25 years, Max Gawn are the two standouts for mine. But as a captain, as a leader, he's the full package, Max. Getting a bit of junk time action here. Rowan Marshall.
I think he's good for the game as well. He's fun. I like his commentary on the game. He doesn't take things too seriously.
Webster goes towards Wilson, who's got some separation. Plays on. Goes in the King direction. Tomlinson's got to try and get back and stop him, but can't this time. And King has a chance to kick his third of the afternoon. He kicked a couple in the second quarter when the Saints were starting to rally.
A beautifully weighted kick by Wilson. Identified the space. And King protected well.
May caught up the field then too, so they weren't one-on-one then.
Just 5 goals this afternoon, the Saints. King makes it 6. He's kicked half of them.
I mean, 3 goals is probably not a bad return, given that they've only taken the ball inside 38 times. And we've talked about all afternoon about how they've lacked that flow and their ability to be able to find targets in their forward line. So, I mean, he's going to walk away from this game. It hasn't been his best game, but he's going to have kicked 3 goals, maybe even more if he gets another one in junk time. Hasn't been a dominant player, but he's played on one of the best defenders in the game too, with limited opportunity. The game has really opened up now. Like, the pressure that we saw in that third quarter when Melbourne really took control isn't there on the ball and the ball carrier now.
Just protected the drop zone as well perfectly, King.
Just a reminder of what a powerful athlete Max King is. He gets a one-on-one chance against a strong opponent, and he's super dangerous. Van Rooyen, and then the Melbourne fans, he's got a little bit of the cult hero about him, Jacob Van Rooyen.
Powerfully built, like he's a big unit. He's got great off-the-mark speed.
I mean, players talk about that craft, Paddy, about, you know, just learning all the nuances of playing as a key forward, and I think that's the next part of his game that he needs to improve. Athletically, he's gifted.
Pinch hits in the ruck from time to time as well, Van Rooyen. This for a 3-goal afternoon at the MCG, and Van Rooyen's got 3. Fans are enjoying themselves down there. He's a fan favourite, Jacob Van Rooyen. I feel like he's an important piece of the puzzle for them with their forward mix. Ben Brown back out of the side again this week. McAdam finding his feet, and Van Rooyen's important.
Spoken a lot about Max Gawn so far this game. Started with him and it ends with Van Rooyen. Great speed off the mark, protected that drop zone well. and importantly finished in front of the goals.
He's only 21, Van Rooyen, Tim. You feel like in the next couple of years he could really develop into quite the key forward.
And he just needs time. You spoke about it, Tim, in terms of learning that forward craft. That just takes time.
Pickett, Langdon, they keep it moving forward. Bonner couldn't get on the end of that. Woden tackled by Bonner.
Thank you, guys.
We saw Tom Hawkins break Geelong's all-time games record, and obviously 23 or so in that 2011 grand final when he had that real breakout performance. Bowie's had some good involvements for the D's today.
Good on. Play on.
Woden again.
Stand.
So the D's are going to have a coolish late afternoon at the MCG as Gawn is on the lead and takes the mark. They'll be packing their bags for Alice Springs next week.
It speaks to his competitiveness, but I wonder if I was Simon Goodwin, after a little bit of a calf concern pre-game, might be icing it Max up after this, Tim.
What about his appetite, though?
Oh, he's just exactly right.
To want to be involved in the game.
25 touches, 17 contested possessions, 9 clearances, 10 score involvements. It's a monster game.
The way he's played today, you almost thought that's every chance to go through. So the man is human. We can establish that.
Sorry, can we just go down to Campbell Brown? I think I just saw something arrive on him from the sky. Campbell.
That's how my luck is. A seagull just, yeah, just landed on me.
They say that is good luck, Brownie.
Is it? Well, I'll wait to see if the good luck comes, because I haven't had much lately.
Well, didn't Sean Burgoyne say to Byron Pickett in the car and the parade in the 2004 grand final when a bird did something similar, you'll win the Norm Smith medal tomorrow, and sure enough he did.
You are a bit bare up top, actually, Campbell, looking from this angle. That there is a bit of a helicopter pad sort of emerging at the top.
Turn it up, Dale. I'm trying to address that with some drops.
Stopped. Jump the hole.
The drops won't work, but a trip to Turkey might.
Max Gawn continues to rack them up. And that one from Hunter's gone out of bounds in the full. So
Straight back. Outside 5.
they might have been listening to Paddy Dangerfield, Simon Goodwin, and thought time to put the champ on ice. The 6-time All-Australian captain maybe had his final few moments after a huge afternoon. The Saints got a late goal in them. Nice sidestep again from Seb Ross, and that was brilliantly done from Ross. He's a good user. Jack Higgins popped up in the right spot.
That's the second time in the second half he's actually hit him with a long kick like that into the favoured space of Jack Higgins.
Doesn't muck around, Jack. Likes to get moving, and he has kicked a couple of goals, Jack Higgins.
I think Jack's one of those players who has realised that the more he thinks about what he's going to do, the less likelihood in it going exactly the way that he would like it. And good on him for actually realising that too.
So he missed the 3 weeks with suspension. He's now kicked 15 goals for the season, so he's been a handy contributor.
It's been rare, hasn't it, Danger, where they've been able to just chain the ball through the midfield and then actually keep the ball in the corridor.
Well, that's the tough part, because the game's effectively dead. How much of his authentic play versus the game just being in the situation it is in?
Petrarca knocked it through the legs of Dow, ran into Sinclair. Still going, the ball, Petrarca. Bonner out wide, stretches and marks. Steele. 31 disposals for Jack Steele. Higgins in front, smashed away by McVie. It falls the way of Sinclair, and he snaps a late goal for Euro-Yroke.
Stephen May, not happy. He's never happy if they give up a goal, is he? I'm just looking at him down there, and he's having plenty to say to the defenders and also the midfielders that were in that part of the ground as well.
It is funny watching Lever and May go at it. Obviously, Jake not playing today.
So these are the matches to come for the Saints. They head over to Optus Stadium against the West Coast, Gold Coast at Marvel, the Brisbane Lions at the Gabba, and then over. Oh, sorry, back to Marvel against Port Adelaide. There are no easy games in this competition. Just the 3 wins for the Saints in 2024. There's Oliver.
What about that pickup then off the ground there by Oliver? That was unbelievable.
To Neil Bullen. Keen for some more scoring here, the D's. Sinclair worked hard to get back down there. He's wrapped up.
Go same way.
Let's go back and have a look at it.
Want to go same way, yeah? Okay.
Great skill, isn't it?
Jacob, St. Kilda right.
To still know where the ball is, to get a meaningful kick out of that position.
Dow there to keep control of Pickett, but they let him go for a second and he almost scored from the tight angle. 100 almost up for Narrm. This is their second highest score of the season so far as Wanganeen-Milera brings it into Steele.
One-on-one Bowie and Ross covers both of those players. May, again, is just determined not to concede anything. Back to Bowie. 2 minutes remaining in the game. And Rivers placed that kick regularly through the corridor with great success this afternoon. The D's with Fee, a little bit of risk attached to it. Caminiti is trying to juggle it forward. Now some run provided. Higgins, Owens. There's no one in front of him, so he had to step back and go the handball. Worked it to Mason Wood, and then Darcy Wilson's going to get on the end of one. Young man, just his 11th game, around 8 Rising Star nominee, and you mentioned earlier, Danger, he looks to be a really good player.
Wangaratta Rovers boy. Exceptional runner. He's built for the modern game, I think, Das. You can put him on a wing and you don't need to see him for 4 quarters.
Saints' first pick in the draft last year, picked 18 overall, and they've got a really good one, so a late positive for the Saints. Darcy Wilson, a young man who is the future of the Saints, gets his first goal of the afternoon. On their time trial pre-season, has taken to AFL football with great skill, Darcy Wilson. It's been a pretty challenging start for his team, but how fresh does he look? He looks like he could do it all again right now.
Word out of the draft was when he came second in the time trial, he was dirty as anything throughout interviews.
That's what's to come for Narrm. So Traeger Park, Alice Springs next week. Collingwood on King's birthday, and then the bye. Van Rooyen the tap, Oliver another good take, and what a hand pass to Pickett, out to Chandler. Fritsch, Sparrow and McAdam the deep targets. Chandler goes short to Oliver. Told to go. A thumping kick to full forward. Through the hands of Sharman. Wilkie dragged down by McAdam. Ball up top of the goal square.
Same way. Happy with that. Thanks, Cal. Rux, Jacob, Anthony.
Fritsch dangerous, trying to go through them. Couldn't quite. Caminiti held up. Van Rooyen has a ping and misses. His day will finish with 3 majors. The 100 up for Narrm. A disappointing performance last week atoned for. The Demons ensure they'll be in the 8 at the end of the round, systematically pulling apart the Saints to win by 38 points.
It's a grand old flag, it's a high five.
is with a man who will be chuffed with his afternoon back in the Demon side today.
Yeah, absolutely. Adam Tomlinson haven't been in a Melbourne jumper since the first round of the year. It's been 10 long weeks, but you thoroughly enjoyed it this afternoon.
Oh, absolutely, Brownie, and it's better than seeing you at 11 o'clock on a Sunday morning, and at least you got shoes on this time. So, no, mate, exactly right. And, you know, I knew my opportunity was going to come at some point, so I was just trying to keep playing good footy and, you know, kept knocking on Goody's door. But, you know, I just tried to play my role, and the ball bounced my way a few times today, which is nice. But you know, it's just good fun to be back playing in front of the crowd as well.
The back line was sensational this afternoon. The intercept marking between yourself, Stephen May, and Tommy McDonald, that's a real area that you try and take the intercept marks and then score with.
Yeah, exactly. And to be honest, my role is normally trying to hold someone down so they can mark it. But, you know, we all had our fair go today. And we try to sort of slingshot off the back of that. We've got some great players who do intercepting. You know, Jake Bowie, Trent Rivers, they pitch in as well. So we've got some superstars back there, and it's just fun to be a part of.
What was said during the week, last week, extremely disappointing, only the 36 inside 50s. Today, the second highest score for the year.
Oh, Brandy, you know what footy's like after a loss. Training's pretty tough and pretty strenuous, but we had a really good go. We sort of galvanised as a group, and we wanted to come out today and sort of put our best foot forward, and that's what we did.
You sure did. Congratulations on the 4 points.
Brandon. Cheers, mate.
So Narrm destroying Euro-Yroke. It was a second half demolition that did the damage, and this side has gone from 9th to